Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Friday, the 23rd of January, 2026.
Blimey, is it that time of year already?
It is. The festive period is well and truly in the rearview mirror. Decorations are down, and we are deep in the trenches of the January transfer window.
The best time of year. Or the worst, depending on how you look at it.
Exactly. And if you have been anywhere near a newspaper, a social media feed, or specifically the Our Manchester United subreddit in the last 24 hours, you know exactly what we are talking about today.
Oh, you can't miss it. It's absolutely everywhere.
It's the rumor that just refuses to die. It's the transfer saga that feels simultaneously sort of inevitable and completely physically impossible. We are talking about the whispers, the shouts, the frantic Reddit threads suggesting that Chelsea's Cole Palmer might be eyeing a return to Manchester.
Not to City, though.
Not to City, but to United.
It is the story that feels like it was designed in a laboratory specifically to break the internet, isn't it?
It really does.
You've got the middle of the January window, spirits in the fan base are, well, let's politely call them mixed, as they usually are this time of year.
It's very diplomatic of you.
And suddenly you have this massive, glittering object thrown into the discourse. It is classic transfer window theater at its absolute finest.
It really is. And look, our mission on this deep dive isn't just to play will he, won't he.
No, we're not here for that.
We aren't here to aggregate clickbait or, give you false hope. We want to unpack why this specific rumor has triggered such a massive debate. We're going to look at what this says about the current squad depth. Because, spoiler alert, it is 2026, and we somehow still have gaping holes in the team that need addressing.
Still, after all this time.
And we need to talk about the reality of dealing with Chelsea. Because, as we'll get into, the relationship between these two clubs has gotten, well, complicated might be the understatement of the century.
Complicated is putting it diplomatically. We're going to be diving deep into a very active discussion from the Manchester United community online, reacting to reports coming out of Sky Sports and The Express. And I think what's fascinating here is that even though most fans know deep down this probably isn't happening, the logic centers of their brains are all screaming no. The debate it has sparked tells us everything about where United are as a football club right now.
Exactly. I have to admit, purely on a romantic level, the idea of it gets me. I'm seeing comments like, bring him home, and it stirs something, doesn't it? That nostalgia.
Wow,
but then I look at the numbers, and I look at the squad list, and my head starts to hurt. So let's start with the heart before we get to the head. Why is this specific link hitting such a nerve with the Old Trafford faithful?
Well, the core of this rumor, the thing that has everyone talking, isn't actually the stats or the goals initially. It's the narrative.
It's the story.
It is. A user, Rainbow Penguin 1000, kicked off a massive thread by pointing out that fundamentally this boils down to reports that Palmer is unhappy in London.
Right.
The theory is he prefers living in Manchester. He misses his friends. He just prefers the northern lifestyle.
Which, having lived in both, I can fully empathize with. London is intense. It's a bubble. If you're a northern lad, born and bred, sometimes you just want a proper chippy. You want your mates around the corner.
A different pace of life.
A completely different pace of life.
Yeah.
It sounds trivial, but for a footballer, happiness off the pitch usually dictates performance on it.
It is a believable premise. We see this with footballers all the time. The lifestyle fit is this huge hidden variable in transfers that doesn't show up on the spreadsheets. But Rainbow Penguin 1000 also touches on the other massive factor here, the boyhood fan element. It is well documented that Cole Palmer was a United fan growing up.
This is the stuff that sells shirts, isn't it? User Significant Studio 511 emphasized this heavily, noting he used to be a United fan in his boyhood days.
Yeah.
And Rainbow Penguin 1000 came back with a really poignant point. It's not common for boys to support a club, wear the shirts, sleep under the duvet covers, and then just casually change their mind when they get older.
That love stays there.
It stays there. It might be buried under professionalism or hidden because he played for a rival, but it's there somewhere.
It's the Luke Shaw factor, isn't it? The childhood Chelsea fan who ended up playing for United for over a decade.
Exactly.
Now we have the reverse potential. But we have to address the elephant in the room here. Or perhaps the blue moon in the room.
Yeah, yes.
Cole Palmer played for Manchester City. He came through their academy. He scored in finals for them. For a significant chunk of the fan base, that is a hard red line.
Oh, absolutely. There is a user, Marex, who didn't mince words at all. They just said, it's just icky.
I saw that. Icky. It's a great word for it.
It's a visceral, emotional reaction. They don't want any ex-City players near the club. It just feels wrong to them, like wearing a scarf that's the wrong shade of red.
Which is valid. Tribalism is the fuel of football, and we can't pretend it doesn't exist.
Of course not.
But if you look at the counter-arguments in the thread, they are quite strong and historically grounded. KK McKay, 17, made the point that Palmer barely played for City's first team.
That's a great point. He wasn't a legend there.
He wasn't a Sergio Aguero or a David Silva. He was a prospect who left to get minutes. And then they dropped the ultimate trump card, Dennis Law.
I loved that reference. You cannot argue with the king of the Stretford end.
You can't.
Dennis Law played for City before coming to United and becoming an absolute legend, and then went back to City. But we whisper about that part.
We don't talk about that goal.
No. But the point stands. If it's good enough for the lawman, surely it's good enough for Cole Palmer.
Precisely. History suggests that if the player performs, the ick factor vanishes after about 3 goals against Liverpool.
Right. It's quickly forgotten.
However, the question of will he perform has actually morphed into will he even play? This isn't the invincible Cole Palmer of 2024 who was scoring hat tricks for fun every weekend.
No.
We're in 2026 now, and the sheen has worn off slightly.
That was surprising to see in the sources, actually.
Yeah.
I still think of him as this, this inevitable force, but there's a lot of chatter about his injury record.
A lot. User Infinite Astronaut 432 pointed out that while he had an incredible first season at Chelsea, he has slowed down and been habitually injured recently.
Habitually is a strong word.
It is, and we need to be specific here because the type of injury matters. Neymar Pauls mentioned a reoccurring groin injury this season alone.
Oof.
Now, for you listening, if you're not a physiotherapist, chronic groin issues in footballers are notoriously tricky. They affect your explosiveness, your ability to turn sharply,
Everything.
and crucially, your ability to strike the ball with power across your body.
Which is basically Cole Palmer's signature move.
Yeah.
Cutting inside from the right and curling it into the far corner.
Exactly. If that mechanism is compromised, he's not the same player. That is a major red flag for a club like United that has been absolutely traumatized by injuries for the last 5 years.
Tell me about it. We have seen so many big signings spend more time in the medical room than on the pitch.
It's a real fear.
Speaking of trauma in medical rooms, there was a fantastic bit of dark humor about this from User Stranger Existing Fact.
Oh, I loved this.
They suggested the reason for his groin pain is, and I quote, all the Lego the new coach wants him to play with.
A brutal dig at the Chelsea management style, I assume referring to a manager who treats players like interchangeable plastic bricks rather than human beings.
It paints a vivid picture, doesn't it? Just snap a new piece in if the old one breaks.
It really does.
But, jokes aside, that medical concern is real. If you're going to spend a world record fee, which we will get to, you want a guarantee. And right now, Palmer feels a bit like a Ferrari with a warning light flashing on the dashboard. You might look cool driving it, but you're terrified it's going to break down in the M6.
And that warning light leads us directly into the tactical problem. Because even if he is fit, and even if he loves the club, and even if he hates London, where exactly does he play? This is what I call the Bruno problem.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is the debate tearing the Reddit thread apart. Cole Palmer traditionally operates best in those central pockets as a number 10.
Yeah.
Or drifting in from the right wing to occupy that central space. But Manchester United have a captain named Bruno Fernandes who, even in 2026, refuses to slow down.
He's still the main man. User-dependent layer 80052 put it very bluntly. Bruno is the best at his position in the entire league.
And it's hard to argue with that.
Even with United's ups and downs, Bruno remains the standard for chance creation. He is the engine. So here's the dilemma. If you find Palmer, are you signing him to sit on the bench?
Can't be.
Or are you shifting your best player out of position to accommodate the new signing?
Well, there's the succession theory. I saw this a few times. User JohnOmancio7 argues that we need to prepare for Bruno's departure. He's getting older. He can't go on forever, surely.
You'd think not, but he seems to be made of iron.
He does. But they see Palmer not as a rival, but as the heir to the throne. The prince waiting for the king to step down.
Which is logical on paper, but in practice, you don't spend, let's just throw out a number, 100 million quid on a replacement while the incumbent is still world class.
No, that's madness.
That is incredibly poor resource allocation. It's buying a spare engine for a car that's running perfectly while your tires are flat and the windscreen is cracked.
I like that analogy. And speaking of flat tires, or rather crowded garages, people are arguing Palmer should play on the right wing.
Right. The obvious alternative.
But the source material highlights that United squad in 2026 is actually quite heavy on the right. We have Brian Mbeumo, who must have been signed recently and has established himself.
Yeah, he's obviously a fixture now.
We have Amad Diallo and the youngster Shea Lacey coming through.
The right wing is absolutely stacked. Air Index listed those names. Mbeumo, Ahmad, Lacey. Their argument is that Palmer isn't needed. He might not even be that good compared to the specific profiles United already have. Mbeumo offers that direct running. Ahmad offers tight control and link-up play. Do you disrupt that balance for a big name?
Well, that sparked a massive row in the comments. You had user space debris coming in hot saying, Palmer this season isn't fit to lace Ahmad's boots when it comes to playing as an attack-minded winger.
That is a bold claim.
A very bold claim, considering Palmer's reputation.
It is, but it's indicative of how highly fans rate Ahmad now. He's clearly developed into a key player in this timeline.
He must have.
But then username Memony6 fired back with, Palmer is definitely better than all three, bro. What are you saying? It is a total divide. Is he a luxury player we don't need? Or a world-class upgrade we'd be stupid to turn down?
I think the term luxury signing used by User General Anxiety 83 is the key here.
It is.
It implies a purchase you make when everything else is fixed. It's buying the chandelier before you fix the roof.
Perfect analogy.
But looking at the tactical breakdowns, specifically regarding the manager, and the sources imply Ruben Amorim is the manager now.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus.
The system is very specific.
Yes. User Usual Cicada 9671 painted a fascinating picture of the current tactical setup. They described a midfield with Kobbie Manu and Bruno. They called Manu smooth and evasive, which is a perfect description of his game.
Still is in 2026 then.
Good. And then you have Matheus Cunha causing mayhem up front.
I noted the Cunha mention. It implies he's settled in as a key attacker, that agent of chaos in the final third.
Right. So if you have Manu controlling, Bruno creating, and Cunha disrupting, Usual Cicada 9671 thinks Palmer would slot in as a mobile midfielder playing off those guys.
So a four-man attack, almost.
Pretty much. They assess that setup as chicken F dinner.
With complimentary gravy.
Crucial detail. But again, it feels like video game logic, FIFA logic.
Yeah, just cram them all in.
Put all the 88 rated players on the pitch and it will work. In real life, balance wins titles. If you have Bruno, Palmer, and Cunha all trying to occupy the same half spaces, who is holding the width? Who is tracking the opposition fullback?
Nobody.
Exactly. Fitting all those creative players into one XI often leads to disaster because nobody is doing the ugly work.
And that brings us to the biggest hurdle of all. It isn't tactics. It isn't injuries. It is politics. And this is where the story gets really juicy and honestly quite painful for United fans.
Indeed. We need to talk about Alejandro Garnacho.
I was reading through the thread and it suddenly hit me. Wait, Garnacho isn't at United anymore.
No. And for any casual listeners who might have tuned out for a season, this is a crucial piece of context. According to the sources, specifically users Vimjux and Tom Roos 1997, Alejandro Garnacho was sold to Chelsea.
That hurts to read. It really, really does.
And the fans are not happy about it. There's a lot of bitterness there. Vimjux claims Garnacho was sold for $30 million less than his true value because he wanted out or because player power forced the move.
Wow.
And Tom Roos 1997 suggests he was forced out by the club. So you have this backdrop where United fans feel they got fleeced by Chelsea for Garnacho.
They feel robbed.
They feel like they lost a star child to a direct rival. Now they're looking at Chelsea trying to sell them Cole Palmer. And the fear is that Chelsea are going to demand what fans are calling the Garnacho Tax.
It's revenge pricing, pure and simple.
Absolutely. User Funky Pill threw out a number. 150 million?
150.
They reckon because United sent them Garnacho, perhaps slightly under market value, Chelsea will jack up the price for Palmer to balance their own books and maybe just to rub salt in the wound.
And United fan 6191 said, 100 million doesn't actually sound that insane these days, which is a frankly depressing sentence to read aloud.
It's just monopoly money at this point. It doesn't feel real.
But surely the contract situation matters. Rainbow Penguin 1000 noted that Palmer has 7 years left on his contract. 7 years.
That is basically a life sentence in football terms. And here is why that matters for the fee. Amortization. Chelsea likely bought Palmer on a long deal to spread the cost.
Right.
If they sell him now, unless it is for a massive fee, they might actually book a loss in their accounts depending on how the bookkeeping works. They are incentivized to keep the price sky high.
So they literally can't sell him cheap, even if they wanted to.
Exactly. They have no incentive to sell.
Yeah.
As John Amancio 7 pointed out, this isn't the Bozeman era where players can just run down their deals easily. United have zero leverage.
None at all.
If Chelsea want to ask for the GDP of a small country, they can. And frankly, with the new ownership model at United INEOS, do we really think they are going to sanction a $150 million revenge buy?
That's the big question about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS, isn't it? We've seen them operate for a while now. User Your Opinion is Bad Buddy is skeptical.
Very skeptical.
They think the new owners view players as profit makers first and won't go near that price tag because the resale value on a 150-meter player is basically zero. You never get that money back.
Which is the sensible, business-like approach.
It is. Although, stranger existing fact, who's on fire with the theories today, suggested that buying British talent fits Jim Ratcliffe's fetish.
Huh, I saw that.
British core, expansive football, a big name to put on the billboards.
Yeah.
It does kick an INEOS box, culturally. We know Ratcliffe likes that best of British identity.
It does tick that box, but financially, it feels like a non-starter. It feels like the old United, not the new efficient machine they are trying to build.
Especially when you look at what the team actually needs. We've spent all this time talking about a shiny new number 10, but the fans in this thread are screaming for something else entirely.
Something much less glamorous.
It's like being hungry and someone offers you a diamond watch. It's nice, but I can't eat it.
Yes. If you strip away the glamour of the Palmer rumor, the Reddit thread is actually a cry for help regarding the engine room of the team.
Totally. General Anxiety 83 put it plainly. We need at least 2 midfielders and at least 1 fullback. Not a winger. Not a number 10.
Basic foundational pieces. And looking at the sidebar headlines from the source material, there is a clear target emerging. Elliot Anderson.
Top target, apparently. Currently implied to be at Forest or Newcastle.
Yes. Now, compare Elliot Anderson to Cole Palmer. Anderson is gritty, Premier League proven, high work rate, probably a fraction of the cost.
He isn't going to sell shirts in Tokyo.
No. He isn't going to be the face of the FIFA cover, but he wins you the ball in Wolverhampton on a Tuesday night when it's raining sideways.
And that's what wins leagues. That's what gets you top 4. But United sign Elliot Anderson doesn't get the same clicks as United sign Cole Palmer.
Precisely. It's the difference between buying groceries and buying a jet ski. You need the groceries. You just want the jet ski.
And then there's the defense. I felt the pain in Narrow Crew 240's comment. They said Diogo Dalot is not reliable, and Luke Shaw is 1 injury away.
Still in 2026.
They called it 15 years of torture.
That 15 years of torture line really hit home for me. It speaks to the fatigue of the fan base. They have been watching the same defensive issues, the same gaps at left back, the same lapses in concentration for a decade and a half.
It's a plea for stability. For someone reliable.
It is generational trauma at this point. And there is a mention of a player called Dorgu being a better option for that fullback winger hybrid role.
Right.
Again, a sensible tactical signing. Not a superstar, someone to do a job.
So while we're all getting excited about Palmer, the club is actually making moves in the background that are much more boring, but probably more important. Did you see the news about Kyle McCauley?
I did, and honestly, this is the stuff that actually excites me more than transfer rumors.
Huh.
Kyle McCauley appointed as head of senior scouting.
For those who don't follow the backroom staff merry-go-round, who is he? Why does this matter?
He's a recruitment specialist who made his name working in tandem with Graham Potter at Brighton and Chelsea. He is heavily data-driven.
The Moneyball guy.
Basically. He finds the players before they cost $100 million. He finds the Moises Caicedos, the Marc Cucurellas before the price hike. The fact that he's reporting to Christopher Vivell, who is obviously part of the United hierarchy in 2026, suggests a proper structure is finally in place.
So, in theory, no more impulse buys. No more checking Twitter to see who is trending and signing them to appease the sponsors.
That is the hope. McCauley represents a move toward evidence-based planning.
Right.
And if your data says, we concede too many goals from the left channel, you go and buy a specialist left back like Dorgu. You do not go and spend $120 million on Cole Palmer just because he supports the club and looks good on Instagram.
It's about maturity.
It's about being a serious football club again.
Which brings us nicely to the final segment of our deep dive, the psychology of us, the fans. Because despite all this logic you've just spouted, despite the Kyle McCauley's and the tactical mismatches and the financial absurdity, we still clicked on the thread.
We all did.
We still read the rumor.
Mm.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
It is the learner profile in action. We are curious creatures. But notice the cynicism in the thread. The source of this rumor was identified pretty quickly.
The Express.
Hmm.
Via Sky Sports. Not exactly Fabrizio Romano, is it?
No. And the reaction was immediate. Dramatic Avocado 4687 called it garbage tier. El Bapo called it click farming. The fans are becoming media literate.
They're wise to it.
They know they are being played. They know how the sausage is made now.
I loved the suggestion from Electrical Conflict 50. They want specific bollocks flair for the subreddit.
I would vote for that.
Just stamp it on the headline so everyone knows before they even click.
It would save a lot of time. Cole Palmer to United. Bollocks. Perfect. Efficient.
But even with the bollocks flair hypothetically attached, people were still debating the fit.
Yeah.
That's the paradox. We know it's fake, but we can't help ourselves.
No.
We want to live in the fantasy for 5 minutes.
It is the cycle of hope. Glum Examination 302 pointed out that United is often just used for engagement by media outlets. They know if they put United and star player in a headline, they get ad revenue.
Of course.
But for the fan, there is that tiny 1% that thinks, but what if?
What if he comes home?
Right.
What if he's the missing piece? What if he's the Cantona of 2026?
Precisely. And in a season where things might be feeling a bit stagnant, or at least where the flaws are visible, that fantasy of a savior is very powerful. Even if that savior has a chronic groin injury and costs $150 million, and we sold our own star boy to get him.
Logic goes out the window when hope walks in the door.
Absolutely.
So let's wrap this up. What is the final verdict on the Cole Palmer saga of January 2026?
The verdict is that it is a beautiful, romantic delusion.
A delusion. Strong word.
It is. The idea of the boyhood fan coming home to Old Trafford is wonderful. It's a movie script, but logically, it hits a brick wall. The Bruno blockage is real. You cannot fit them both without sacrificing balance. The Garnacho tax means the price would be astronomical. And practically, the squad is screaming for midfielders like Elliot Anderson and reliable fullbacks, not another luxury number 10.
It feels like a litmus test, doesn't it? If United signed Cole Palmer, it's the old United chasing stars, ignoring the system.
Yeah.
If they ignore him and buy a left back, it's the new United.
I think that is exactly right. It is a test of discipline for the new ownership. Can they say no to the shiny toy to buy the spare tire? That will tell us everything about the next 5 years of this club.
Well, as we sign off, I want to leave you with a thought that's been nagging at me throughout this whole discussion. We've talked about how Palmer can't come because Bruno is there.
Right.
But John Mansos haven't hinted at it, and I think it's the quiet part nobody wants to say out loud. If United really want to move on from the past, maybe the hardest decision isn't buying Cole Palmer.
Go on.
It's realizing that to build the future, they might eventually have to move on from Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Are the fans actually ready for that conversation?
That is the million-pound question. Or the 150 million pound question. And looking at the thread, I don't think they are. Not yet.
Something to mull over this weekend. Check your sources, don't believe everything you read in the Express, and we will catch you on the next Deep Dive.